Hello everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. Today I am back in the Broekmans Van Poppel music store in Amsterdam. So a while back I was here making a video about methods for the alto recorder for adults, and a lot of you really liked this video and you were asking me, could I make the same video for books for soprano or tenor recorders? So yes, I am here. I have made a giant pile of music. Now there are so many different recorder books out there. I've made a selection today of books that are more suitable for adults rather than children. There are undoubtedly books that I've missed out, so if you've been using one that you really love, please tell us about it in the comments. And I will also leave links to all of the books I talk about so that you can order them from Broekmans Van Poppel. We are going to start off with my favourite method. It's called the Blokfluit Koffer, or the recorder suitcase. So this method was very kindly sent to me by Annette Nicolai, who helped to make it, and I just really fell in love with this. Not only is the music really good quality, all of the books come with CDs that you can play along with. I just really like how it's laid out. It's very attractive. It's got a good mix of music theory and improvisation and different games. So it is in Dutch. I have it in the back of my mind to translate it into English because I'd be so happy if an English version came out. But I really think the quality of the music stands up on its own, and by the time you get to the third volume, you're playing pretty complex stuff. And a lot of the material can be understood in any language. For example, these diagrams and illustrations for finger training or for improvisation. So if you need a theoretical explanation of music from the very beginning, maybe wait until you're ready for book 2. I also want to say, this is not sponsored in any way. I just really love the book. I'm mentioning this book second because so many of you have commented and told me how much you have loved using it. This is Enjoy the Recorder by Brian Bonsor. Like all books I mentioned today, it's written for the soprano recorder but can also be used for the tenor, and it has a really great step-by-step explanation of music theory as well as how to actually play the recorder. And this thicker copy I'm holding is actually the version with piano accompaniment. So this one doesn't come with a CD, but you can play with a pianist, which is so nice to make live music. And it comes in 2 volumes. By the time you're in the second volume, again, it's quite complex stuff. Even at the end of the first volume, you've got 16th notes, legato, staccato. There's a lot to get your teeth into. And what I really like is that it also has troubleshooting. For example, here it talks about the low D. If it's not working, why? The most common reasons is how to adjust your fingers or how to adjust your breath pressure. So it really helps you as you go along. The next one I'm going to talk about is Teach Yourself to Play the Recorder by Morty Manus. This really goes from the very beginning and has very detailed step-by-step instructions on everything in music theory. So if you really want someone to be with you every step of the way, then this is great. It is quite busy in its layout because they make sure to explain every detail. So if you just want some musical material to play through, maybe this isn't for you. And the pieces remain quite simple, but once you've been through this book, in theory you should know enough about reading music in order to be able to go and pick up a lot of different pieces. Now we come to Fun and Games with the Descant Recorder, published by Schott. This is in 3 volumes. It is actually aimed at children, but I think that it's so nicely laid out and the games in there are so much fun that I wouldn't mind doing them as an adult as well. So I'm just going to put that out there. It's got a lot of inventing your own music, playing games, improvisation, sound games and listening games. So if you're looking for something that's not only the notes on the page, but the music around it, then this could be really nice. This also follows on to Fun and Games with the alto recorder, which I talked about in my last video, and that's a really nice method for combining the soprano and the alto if you're learning them at the same time. So if this is something you're interested in, I would say definitely go for these. While we're talking about methods for children, I want to give a quick shout out to the Red Hot Recorder Tutor and the Razzamajazz books by Sarah Watts. Yes, they are aimed at children, but I really love the music in there. It's kind of fun and jazzy. There's one song song in there called the EBGBs that every single one of my students loves, and I love it too. The other end of the spectrum, we have Senioren Musicieren Blockflöte, so seniors making music for the recorder. This is published by Schott, and what I really find interesting is that they say it's for the tenor recorder. It is in German, so again, if you want that detailed theoretical explanation and you don't speak German, that could be a bit of a problem. What I really like is it builds up very slowly and it takes you from the very beginning in a really clear way. And it also comes with either a CD or piano accompaniment, and I think it's in 2 different volumes. Actually, the more I look through this book, the more I'm impressed with how it's laid out, and the more I wish I spoke German so that I could actually use this. Another book that a lot of you have told me you really love is The Basic Recorder Technique by Hugh. So this is quite an old book by now. It's from the 60s. It's nearly 60 years old itself, but it gives a lot of great explanations into things like how to hold the recorder, really technique stuff. It's like a recorder tutor coupled with a technical troubleshooter. I speak a lot about the Walter von Hauer Advanced Recorder Player book, and that is very advanced, and this is more of a kind of beginning intermediate step. So if you're looking for a way to improve your technique in a manageable way with a lot of musical material to then practice with, I think this Hugh book is really, really great. I actually found this in the secondhand section and I will be taking it home today. Then we have the Trap Family Recorder Method. Book 1 is for the soprano or tenor, and book 2 is then for the alto or basset recorder. Again, this is one that a lot of you are fans of, and it starts from the very beginning. It gives a nice explanation of music theory. I think this book was published in the 50s, so it is quite dry in its layout, but to be honest, what more do you need? It's really nice music in here. We've got Telemann, which I know you all love. The music is a really nice mixture of Baroque music and folk music, and I think it's really clearly laid out. I found this book in the secondhand section and I've never heard of it. The Recorder from Zero by Charles P. Fisher, and it's kind of written in a facsimile style, like handwritten. It's basically a very dense recorder tutor that seems to use mainly Renaissance and medieval music as its basis. I definitely wouldn't recommend this as a tutor for children because look at all the text, and by the time we get to the end of the method we've got some pretty hardcore medieval music, no bar lines, but if you're really into this style of music, why not learn the recorder through authentic Renaissance medieval music? Oh my god, just looking at lesson 38, look at these chords! This isn't a recorder method, but it's something that took me through my recorder education all through my childhood. It's the Abracadabra recorder book. As I've told you all before, I basically taught myself the recorder as a kid, and I had this book and I just played it all the time. It's just a really nice anthology of a lot of different traditional songs. They're all very well known. So if you're using one of these more theoretical, technical method books and you want some material to play, this has very nostalgic memories for me. We have The Method for the Recorder, published by Berendal Music Limited. This book goes step by step from the very beginning, explaining all the notes and music theory, and by the end of book 2, we have both of the Brandenburg concertos by Bach. If that isn't ambitious, I don't know what is. But especially book 2 is really, really nice. We've got a lot of good musical material, also takes you through all your scales and arpeggios, through ornamentation, through double tonguing. And I think it's really nicely laid out with minimal explanation, actually. It really tells the education through the music. So I hadn't come across this before, but I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest. Okay, I was not expecting to come across this book. I had no idea it existed, but I am very excited by it. This is the Introduction to the Avantgarde for recorder players, published by János Bali. It's a Hungarian book, but it's in English. This is amazing. I have spoken a lot about my love for contemporary music, and I firmly believe that it can be really, really fun for everybody. This is a whole book of fun games and explanations for how to get into contemporary music making. with illustrations and photos, exercises. We have here chaos and light. So this is material you can use as exercises or as things to learn with or as actual pieces to perform. For example, the insect collection looks really exciting. I have never really seen a book like this, and it's definitely going home with me today as well. It also shows you how to prepare your recorder. A lot of these method books that I've talked about use things like improvisation or making your own pieces, linking music with drawing or stories or theatre, and I think this is basically a more advanced step forward. So yeah, wow. So those are a bunch of methods. I'm just going to quickly talk through a few different books of material. Maybe you're starting out on the soprano or the tenor recorder and you just want music to be playing that's going to take you through. So these are some books that I found that I really like. We have 50 graded studies for the soprano or tenor recorder, selected by Sally Adams, published by Faber. Studies. You can love studies or you can hate them. Some people find them very, very boring. Some people find them very, very useful. What I like is that a lot of these studies are actually taken from classical music. It's not only abstract things, but this could be a really nice resource. If you start at number 1 and work to number 50, then you've made a lot of progress. We have Concerto, concert pieces selected by Gudrun Hayes, who I'm a big fan of, published by Schott. This is a book of pieces suitable for playing in a concert. The material is basically all Baroque and Renaissance, so it's really nice for the recorder. It's got the piano or continuo accompaniment in there, and it's not too crazy difficult. It's all really manageable music. So the first piece is dum 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 da da dum dum da da dum bum. Ending with La Folia by Corelli. So if you're kind of getting to an intermediate standard, this could be really nice concert pieces for you. We have the collection album of 75 Baroque and classical pieces with CD. I'm a big fan of playing with CD because I think it can really help your rhythmic development. Some of these pieces are very short, some of these pieces are much more long and complex, but you've got 75 of them in one place, so this can take you through for a long time. Not so many recorder books go into the classical period, and I always think, you know, why not? If you want to play it, play it. So here we've got some Mozart, we've got some Beethoven and Haydn, and if that is what you want to be playing, then you should definitely go and do that. This is one of my favourite publications of all time, the Baroque Recorder Anthology. There are 4 books, and books 1 and 2 are for the soprano or the tenor recorder, and they come with really good quality accompaniment CDs. You can play with the recorder or without, and of course it's music of the highest compositional quality. So I just love these. Not only are there the Baroque Recorder Anthology, but we also have the Renaissance Recorder Anthology. Book 1 and 2, each one has 32 pieces with a really nice backing track. So if Renaissance music is your thing, then get your hands on one of these. The pieces go in a progressive order, and what's nice is in the back of the book they also give a bit of background about what these pieces are, what all these what the different terminology means, a bit of the history, so you can really learn something about the music that you're playing. And yet, Baroque. We're recorder players, we always play Baroque, but I know a lot of you love folk music. We have here the English and the Irish folk tunes for recorder. These are published by Schott. I feel like everything I've spoken about today is published by Schott, but they really make a lot of good recorder music. These are really nice books of folk tunes that also come with CDs to play along. What I like about these books is that there's a really big variation of the pieces in there, lots of different kinds of songs and dances, and the editing is quite minimal. I really don't like it if I'm playing folk music from sheet music and it's covered in slurs and staccatos and dynamics and all of this stuff that actually you're free to make up yourself. And in the beginning of each book you've also got a bit of an explanation about the style of folk music and how to approach the ornaments and the presentation of it. So that was it. Those were my selected books that I wanted to tell you about for learning the soprano or the tenor recorder. A huge thank you to Broekmans Van Poppel Music Shop in Amsterdam for having me here and letting me root through all of this music. If you are visiting the Netherlands, definitely make the time to come here. I will leave the address in the description below. They have a lot of recorder music and also a huge second-hand section where I always find a load of hidden gems and end up spending all of my money. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here in the corner. Over here I will leave a link to the Team Recorder web shop where you can order all kinds of cool stuff, and up here is the link to my last video, alto recorder methods for adults. Whew. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!